Okay guys, so for this lesson then, I'm using a website called repel.it. As you can see here, repl.it. Same as there, it'll look like this. Essentially, this website will allow me to write Python code directly into my web browser. So that means that it'll work on a laptop, a Chromebook, it'll work on a tablet, it'll even work on a phone. So I'm going to click on the Start Coding then, and I'm going to choose Python. And I'm going to click on Create. Now with Repel.it, it will give me a link that, as you can see there, has my Repel.it, and then it has a series of random words. Those random words are the link back to this program. So when it comes to sending it back and turning it into me on Teams, I want the whole of this link at the top here posted to me on Teams to allow me to see what you've done. So we're going to look at something today called a loop. And as you can imagine, a loop is just a way of repeating what we're doing over and over. And we're going to focus on one called a for loop today. There are lots of different types of loops. They all have their own uses. And like I said, today we're looking at for loops. So the construct for a for loop then is for, in, and then our condition to end it. But we have to put something inside this little section here so it knows what it's doing. So I'm going to put in for counter, so that is an easily recognizable value that I understand. I'm going to say in, I've already done that in, sorry, range, and my range is going to be 10. And then my terminator just has to be put in the right place. Now when I go down to the next line, I'm just simply going to print, I'm going to put a string concatenation around it of my counter. Now, when I run that, you'll see on the side here that it starts off at 0 and it comes right the way through to 9. Remember, everything in computing, everything within a computer's understanding starts at the term 0. So when they count from having nothing to having 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. Perfectly acceptable. That's what I would expect to see. Now, that's all well and good. It's helpful to be able to repeat through, but on this occasion, it doesn't really show what we can do with it. A basic program then could have, say, a number as a type of input that asks you, enter a number to see its times table. Now, generally speaking here in the UK, again, I'm going to put a backslash n in there, sorry, just put that in there so it goes down to the new line. We tend to work with times tables, looking at them across a 12 number basis. So I'm going to do for, again, counter, in range. This time, instead of 0, I want it to go to 13, because I want to output 12 different values. I'm going to do print. Now this is where it gets a little bit confusing. So we have to cast a whole output as a string, but inside that string, we have to cast our input as an integer. So number is casted as an integer there. We're then going to multiply that by C, whatever's in our counter. And, oh, not C, not counter, my bad, not C. And check I have enough brackets there. That should be okay. So if I run this now, it'll do my counting, ask me a number. If I put in 4, it then prints out 0, 4, 8, 12, 16, all the way up to 48. Now that's very basic. I could put in bracket, so I could do, I would need to do string of counter, add to it, speech marks, saying times by string of number, and then add to that equals, and I'm missing a plus here, and if I was to rerun this program, put in 4 again, 0 times 4 is 0, 1 times 4 is 4, and so on, and it's giving me my times table. Nice and simple. I do want you to try both of those so far as we're going across. Now the last one is going to be a bit of a longer process. I'm going to start you off and expect you to finish it. So I'm going to say count A. I'm going to set count A to equal 0, and then count B, and so on and so forth, all the way down to count Z. So I'm just going to skip it a second and put count Z in there. I would expect you to have done all the letters of the alphabet, all 26 of them. I'm then going to say word equals input. Please enter a word to count its letters. Now, from there, I can do 4, but this time I'm going to do it slightly different. I'm going to do a character in, and instead of doing a range, I'm just going to do it in my word. And what it will do is if I printed character, just to show you, and I run this, I will have to go through my times table again. So I'm going to put in 21 this time, just to keep it interesting. Enter a word. If I put in hello, it will print for me each letter of the word in a separate print command. Now I don't just want to do a printout of the word. What I want to do is have an if statement in place that says if character dot lower, because we don't want to worry about if someone's put in a capital or not, equals A. Then we're going to say count A equals count A plus 1. And then I'm going to go back here. I'm going to do if character dot lower equals B. I'm going to do count B plus equals count B plus. Count B equals count B up plus 1. So each time it goes through, it then tells me what each character is. And I'm going to do a printout at the very end, after all that's finished, and go outside my loop, looking at my indentation, because as we know, it's very important in Python, and say print. First of all, I'm going to put in my starting sentence, which is just simply your word contains, and then I'm going to do a separate print for it, just to get some practice with our printing. The string equivalent, so string, cast it, count A, and I'm going to say plus letters are letter A's, and that should be a lowercase letter. And I can highlight it, copy it, and paste it. Even though I can't see paste there, if I use Control and V, it will put it in place. I can do count B and change that to the letter B's. Now if I run that, okay, that doesn't seem to run. There we go, reset itself. So let's have a look at our 56 times table while we're there. Nice interesting numbers. Enter a word. Now I want a word with A's and B's in place. So simply, I'm going to put in ABBA. It prints out ABBA, so it's got 2 A's and 2 B's, just counted them up. What your challenge is to copy down the same thing I've done here for my for loops, and then set up A through to Z and get it so it tells me how many of every letter is in my word. Then turn that back into me on Teams. Good luck.